Welcome to our 40th episode of Believe in TCU. As part of the Believe Network, I'm Zion Trammell, and I'm joined by Ian Napetian and Seth Dowdle. We're also joined by a fourth guest today, a special guest. He's making his second appearance on the show. He's the lead college basketball writer for TCU on SI and soon to be a TCU alumni. We've got Nick Girimonte. Nick, thanks for joining us.
What's going on, boys? I'm fired up. No three better dudes I'd rather be talking to.
That's too kind.
Yeah,
that is way too kind. That's way too kind. There's probably thousands of other dudes you could be talking to right now.
No, top three dudes right here. I'm stoked.
Well, we're here to talk about women's and men's basketball, and I thought who better to talk about that with than Nick, who's all over it, all over the news, and covering all that. We're gonna start here with the women's basketball, TCU women's basketball. They've been very active in the transfer portal, lots going on, but I think we should start with the big one, Olivia Miles coming over from Notre Dame. Just an absolutely humongous move for TCU women's basketball. A good place to kind of start this next era, I guess, of TCU women's basketball, considering a lot of players are leaving. Olivia Miles was projected to be the second overall pick in the WNBA Draft. She went through the transfer portal and joins Mark Campbell in this TCU team. Nick, I'll start with you. What was kind of your thoughts on this move, and what does this mean to get a highly coveted player such as Olivia Miles?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, she was projected to be the second overall pick in the draft, right behind Paige Buckets, and it just goes to show how limitless this program can be. Like, if you're consistently getting these top-notch transfers when you roll over from Haley Van Lith to Olivia Miles, it's pretty remarkable what Mark Campbell's done. Like, I remember right when she entered the portal during the TCU Texas game, and then right after I saw Mark at the hotel after and asked him about it, and he was on it right away. And it's crazy the turnaround that happens. It seemed like they were front runners the whole time, which goes to show just how people want to play TCU now. We saw the culture being broadcast at a time that everyone wants to be involved, and the unlocking of Haley Van Lith and really propelling her draft stock and her career. And honestly, like, Olivia Miles she's a two-time All-American, one of the best players in the country. To come to TCU, Haley Van Lith is the best player in TCU history. Basketball-wise, she was Big 12 Player of the Year. She could not have been better for this university. But coming in as a prospect and as a transfer, I think Olivia Miles is even better and more talented. If you watch her highlights, she has some of the most remarkable women's basketball highlights I've ever seen. It's just such a perfect pairing in pick-and-roll university, as they call it, with TCU women's basketball. And the sky's the limit for what she could do. Like, I think she could be a National Player of the Year type candidate in Mark Campbell's system. And it just puts them right back at the top where they can make another run, very likely.
Yeah, it's a tremendous move there for TCU. Seth or Ian, if one of you guys want to chime in here, what have kind of been your reactions to this and what this means?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just first off, I mean, Olivia Miles is one of the best passers in the women's game in the nation. And I think, her coming in, obviously, we're going to see the talent from day one. And there's going to be high expectations, obviously, after a year like this season. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of turnover. But I think if you can try to build a good team around her, and like we've seen as well, we'll get into this in the rest of the episode too, but you're also getting a lot more height on this team as well, which can really help TCU going forward. We saw how much it helped this season for the Frogs, and then hopefully going into next year, you can rely on Olivia Miles to run a lot of that offense. Get her open, but also she can create a lot for this team as well, and almost be like just another Haley Van Lith as well. And I mean, to be this excited about next season this early, it's a very fun sight for, I think, every Frog fan, and especially for those covering and watching women's hoops.
I think it was very important, right? After the year that they had, that you didn't just make it a one and done type of situation where you part of this, nice story, and then you go back to earth. And this is not like make that, a certainty that TCU will go out there and will make another Sweet 16 appearance or whatnot, but it certainly makes it more likely that you lose all this production, and now you're going to insert, a player like Olivia Miles, who was going to be, a top 5 pick in the WNBA draft. It makes TCU and puts it back on the map, because there definitely was a scenario where, they go on this run and then they fade back, not to where they were, but, just kind of, a good women's basketball program. It's very clear that with these types of moves in the transfer portal, and we'll talk about a little bit more of them later, that Mark Campbell is doing, that his goal is not just to make TCU a consistent tournament team, a consistent national championship contender is what his goal is. And this is certainly a good first step of that for the 25-26 season.
Absolutely. Yeah, it legitimizes what Mark Campbell's building. And they weren't done. They made a couple more moves before and after that Olivia Miles news broke. Nick, why don't you talk a little bit about some of those moves? Marta Suarez from Cal and Kennedy Basham from Arizona State, as well as a couple other players. What are some of the standouts here that Mark Campbell's been able to do here in the portal?
Yeah, well, like you guys said, it's replacing Haley Van Lith, Madison Connor, Sedona Prince, Agnes Eminopu, players like that. It's a tough task, but I genuinely think like he's done exactly in the portal and players that fit his system to be able to do that. Like Marta Suarez, like you said, is a bit experienced four-year player. She had like 12 and 7 at Cal last year. She's that stretch 4 that TCU wants. I expect her to start at that 4 position and be able to kind of shoot the 3 a little bit, as I said, and give them some sides, which obviously we've seen Mark Campbell like coming in at 6'3". I posted that you're replacing 6'7" Sedona Prince, and you got some options there. Mark obviously, as we know, likes to run 4 out, 1 in, and that 1 in is just supposed to be as tall as they come, right? And he's got some options. He's got Clara Silva from Kentucky, who's one of the most highly coveted players. Freshman coming in last year. She's still got 3 years of eligibility. She's a very good candidate to start at that 5 position. And then you still have players like currently on the roster. You still have Taylor Bigby and Aaliyah Roberson and Nat Mazurik. And then you also bring in Kennedy Basham, like you said, from Arizona State, who's had a lot of experience. She used to play at Oregon as well. And then also 6'7" players, Emily Hunter, who was actually with the team last year. She's going to be a freshman this year. Sarah Portlock. Those are 2 other 6'7s. You have size and you have real talent here. I would expect the 3 guards of Donovan Hunter, Olivia Miles, and Maddie Scher to start together, which gives you elite playmakers to give you, if not as good of a backcourt as last year, but pretty damn close, if not as good, to a backcourt this year. So they're going to be right back in it. And I know last year was unbelievable, but talent-wise, like this team is right up there with them. And I think, like I said before, they're equipped to be right back towards the top of the nation.
Yeah, and just one thing I wanted to kind of jump in and say, I do think having Maddie Scher coming back as well, and being healthy, fingers crossed, is going to be huge, because I think sitting for a whole season, obviously that wasn't ideal. If she came in, you could have had even more depth than TCU had already this season, but she's seen the game from a very different perspective the whole year long. And I'm really curious to see how that translates to the court after being on the sideline for so long, but seeing how things maneuver, seeing how things work, and seeing what the expectation is once she gets on the court, because I think she still can play a huge role, just like Nick mentioned. And, that just depends on if she's going to be, fully healthy for TCU. But if she is, then, this team's going to be an incredibly talented squad, So I think she's got a lot going for her if she can come back and kind of just prove her talents on the court.
Yeah, you feel good about having her back, and then a backcourt of Olivia Miles and Donovan Hunter. That is pretty lethal for this TCU team. And I kind of said this early on, in the season, as the season was progressing, is like, if you're a player and you see how this relationship between Haley Van Lith and Mark Campbell, and even with the rest of this team, it's like, how do you see that and then not want to come to TCU? I think the way that this program was kind of shown to the public eye and to a lot of players, I think has made that really intriguing for a lot of players. And it, again, making these moves in the portal just kind of legitimizes what Mark Campbell's building and really shows that this can be a program that can make runs like they did last year. And it's not just a Cinderella run. Like, it's not just a one-time thing. It's something that they can do for more years to come. All right. So we kind of touched a little bit on the women's basketball transfer portal. Again, just so much going on there. I'm sure Mark Campbell could still be cooking. Nick,
Yeah.
actually, I wanted to ask, do you know anything about if there's still some activity going on there? Do you have any news on that, or are they pretty happy with what they got?
There's the priority right now, I would say, is getting another backup ball handler. You have the big three, and then you added Talia Parker from Texas A&M, another guard, but she's more of a wing at 6'1". They're looking at point guard ball handlers right now, kind of that Uno Jovanovic role that you lost last season. They're looking at a player in a pick guard, Marley. I'll try to find her name. But yeah, so just looking at guards. Kaylee Heckle's a player from USC they're looking at. Marley Washinitz, they're in contact with, but they're just in contact with a lot of point guards right now to kind of fill that role. But to go to your point of what's so special about TCU and why people want to come here, like obviously money's involved with NIL nowadays, and it's not like TCU doesn't have money. Like they're obviously up there close to the top of the Big 12, but they don't have that money like some other schools like we've seen. And I think what separates them is that players genuinely still want to come here because of that culture, like you said, and because of Mark Campbell, that we're probably getting players on better deals than other schools would, which I think is so special and so cool that we've gotten to lock Mark Campbell up here, already extended now. Like it's just cool to see. And yeah, I don't expect them to be done. Maybe once they get another ball handler, they will be, but just a remarkable job to be able to put this together.
Yeah, good to know. We'll keep our eyes on what happens in the portal with Mark Campbell. A lot of players obviously left in the offseason, and it paid off in the WNBA draft with a couple players, Haley Van Lith going number 11 to the Chicago Sky, and then Madison Connor getting drafted to the Seattle Storm. Seth, I'll start with you. What was your reactions to this news? It's pretty cool that TCU's kind of on that big stage here in the WNBA, kind of a first-time thing, and it's been a while.
My first reaction was, darn it, because the Wings picked a pick later and could have gotten Haley Van Lith. And I have been, I was kind of scarred by the Josh Green, Desmond Bain situation that happened with the Mavericks a while ago, where they could have picked the hometown guy and they picked a guy from Australia instead. But it would have been cool to see Haley Van Lith and Paige Beckers on the same team. But nonetheless, still very, very cool for her to go on that stage and get drafted on Monday night. She deserves it. It's kind of amazing how much her stock rose from her last year at LSU to where she is right now. Just goes to show that the change in scenery paid off. And it kind of goes to that same point of like, not that TCU is a rehabilitation program, but they can help you, but like, make you better, right? Like if you come in and you're not in a spot where you want to be, you come to TCU and you're going to, elevate your stock a lot. And that's surely what has happened for a lot of the transfers that came in, including Haley Van Lith, none more so than Haley Van Lith, I'd say. But yeah, very, very cool for her. And then for Madison Connor as well, I wouldn't say that I was shocked to see her drafted, but was certainly surprised. And I hope that she makes the team. I know it's tough for those like later round picks in the WNBA draft to get a roster spot because they're just so limited. But I hope that she goes out there and proves her worth because we know what she can do. And I hope she goes out there and makes that squad.
Yeah, I mean, Haley getting drafted 11th overall is awesome. I was kind of in the same boat as Seth, just obviously tuning into the draft and seeing that, okay, she's right here with either the Sky or up next with the Wings. And, I mean, I didn't think the Wings were going to go with Beckers and Van Lith, but I do think it would have been pretty cool. But I think it's awesome too that she's going to link back up with Angel Reese. I'm curious to see how that tandem gets along again. But you talk about, I mean, the Chicago Sky have Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, Haley Van Lith. I forgot who they picked. They picked somebody out of Slovenia with the 10th pick as well. So they've got so much young talent that they can really try to build a good foundation around. And it's not just young talent that is inexperienced. It's very experienced young talent as well. I think that's something that's going to pay off too. But I mean, Haley Van Lith is awesome. We've seen her all season here. We've seen what she can do at Louisville, at LSU, and then coming to TCU, her ability to drive, her balance in the paint, her ability to shoot from behind the arc. And I mean, she is a fantastic player, and the Chicago Sky are getting a heck of a ball handler as well. So,
yeah, I think what's additionally awesome about these two draftees is that it just adds to recruiting tools for TCU. Like Haley Van Lith, like you said, Seth, was after last year not really on WNBA draft boards, if at all. She comes to TCU, takes another chance on herself, and is a first-round pick, showcases what she can really do. And Madison Connor is even more of a big story in that. And she was, a bench role player at Arizona. She comes to TCU. She was labeled as just a shooter. She's definitely more than that. And additionally, she's the best shooter in college basketball. So it's just cool that they've taken these players, unlocked their true potential, put them in a spot where they can be WNBA draft picks. And obviously they've meant such important things to the university. So I'm definitely going to be rooting for them in the next level. And it just adds to the history of how special this team was and how special this program is becoming, that you're getting draft picks of that caliber. Like Haley Van Lith was the first player taken out of the Big 12. TCU hasn't had a WNBA draft pick since 2005, and now they only have 3. With they had more draft picks in the last draft than they had all time. So this program just taken at a new level, and it's going to be cool to see them take that next step at the W.
It's pretty cool. They're representing TCU well. I think these two players, and especially, with Haley Van Lith and Madison Connor, they are great representations of TCU as a university and for TCU basketball. And like you said, just really showcases what the potential could be if you come play for Mark Campbell. And I'm so excited to watch them play in the WNBA. And, as a Dallas sports fan, excited that also Paige Beckers is in DFW, and excited to see that as well. But definitely looking forward to seeing what Haley Van Lith can do with the Sky reunited with Angel Reese. And we wish nothing but the best for them. We're going to miss them a lot. And, they were such key contributors, but definitely looking forward to their career in the WNBA. All right. Final topic of the day, gentlemen. We're talking men's basketball. Now, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since we've talked about men's basketball on this show. We've given a lot of attention to the women's team, not as much to the men's team. But Nick, we have you here, so we got to talk about it a little bit. There's been some positives. There has been some good things going on with TCU men's basketball, and I think starting it off with keeping a lot of their young core, keeping David Punch, Jace Posey, Micah Robinson, Malik Diallo. Whereas as much change that TCU men's basketball has gone through the last couple years, what does that mean to be able to keep some of that youth core for at least another season?
Yeah, it means everything, right? Like, I think returning players are way more valuable than any new transfer you're going to add. We see like a team like Baylor, where they're literally returning 0 players from their roster last year. And obviously they still have Scott Drew, so it's not a coaching thing. To retain 4 of your key players and to add 4 players from your core that they recruited originally. So these are guys that they've had in the program from the start, like no transfer guys coming in. Last year, we saw character issues throughout the season, obviously up and down, and they only returned 1 player. So it's just so tough to have to reload it that much and turn it around in a year, especially when your point guard goes down. But I loved what they've done this offseason. They obviously are addressing some of the things that that have been going wrong recently. Like we know half court offense, we know playmakers, guards, shooting, and the additions of Brock Harding and Jaden Pierre are perfect for the playmaking and scoring aspect that they were missing out of their backcourt the past couple of years since Damian Baugh and Mike Miles, obviously. Like I've heard from coaches that they think Brock Harding is the best passer they've had since Damian. More dribble handoffs and more changing things up, which I think is important when obviously they've struggled so much in that aspect the past few years. But what's particularly cool about these guys is that last year they were having these visits and getting outbid by a lot of teams. Like we saw Doug McDaniel come in. They got outbid by K-State. Dante Maddox went to Xavier. He visited. Caleb Battle visited, went to Gonzaga. It goes on. But they got Brock Harding right away. They made it a priority. They got him visited. They got him right away. Jaden Pierre visited, got him. Those are the first two visits, their first top tier priorities. They got their first top priorities, which I think is so important. I've heard Michael Robinson is maybe grown like an inch or two and it looks to take a big leap next season. Obviously, David Punch showed much improvement. Malik Diallo showed a ton of improvement, like you said. And obviously, Jace Posey was kind of a big story from last year. So I think it's huge for what this team wants to do. I think they should expect to go back to an NCAA tournament next year. And if they don't, it would definitely be underachieving when I think this year it kind of gave them a little bit of leeway, making it 3 times for the past few years where you can have one down year. And if you rebound the next year, like I think Jamie Dixon made it a priority to get guys he wants out the portal and make it back. And I think that's important. And they've had visits recently, like LT Leleviushis from Oregon State. He played pro ball in Lithuania. He took an official visit over the weekend, and I heard that went well, so we'll see where that goes. Another wing shooter. I know they're prioritizing wing shooter right now. Adam Miller's a guy they're also linked to from Arizona State. He's kind of been close for a few times, as TCU fans know. And then they might go for another center just to kind of give Malik Diallo and Xavier Edmonds a guy some minutes at that center position. So I think a wing player for sure, and then the possibility of a center after to kind of wrap up this roster. But I think they feel very good about where they're at.
If I want anything out of the portal, it's wing shooting. I think we need some shooting pretty desperately. It was hard to watch at times last season with the lack of shooting, so that would be pretty sweet to be able to get that.
Give me 10 Francisco Farabellos, please.
Well, if they got LT visited from Lithuania, they're going back to that European route a little bit. So
we gotta have it.
We'll see.
We definitely could use a little bit of that in this for next year's team. Ian, what about you? What's kind of on your wish list for next season? What are you kind of hoping to see out of this men's basketball team?
I mean,
it's
just staying
kind of hard
healthy.
to say, but
yeah. I mean, I would love to just get off. I think no matter who TCU brings in, I would love to just see the team gel from the get-go. I think that was one of the hardest things, was just that you brought in so many guys. And it's not that, using the transfer portal is going to hurt you every single time like that. But I think one of the hardest things is to bring a lot of guys into a very specific playing style and kind of groove that it's like, if you can't hit the nail on the head, you're going to struggle. And I think we saw that this year a little bit. But you're getting the second year with a lot of these young guys, like Nick mentioned, that have been here, that want to be here. This isn't just another stop on the way through their college journey, or at least so far. But I would just, I would love to get some more size, more size and experience. Losing Ernest Uday is definitely tough, but I don't think that was necessarily a surprise to anybody. But then again, you look and you have your younger guys like David Punch, like Micah Robinson, guys like that who will be given several opportunities to step up even more than they did already this season. And seeing what they did already this last year should give people the utmost confidence in what they can expect from them this coming season and also going forward. So I would just say, no matter who TCU is able to bring in, I just hope that they're able to gel from day one, and that you can kind of just have a full season of these guys working fluidly together. So,
Yeah, Nick, before you go, I just want to ask one last question for you. Just kind of with this backcourt of Brock Harding and Jaden Pierre, I'd imagine they're going to be starting.
Yeah, I would guess so.
Sell TCU fans this backcourt, because they've gone through a lot of changes in the backcourt through the transfer portal over the last few seasons. It's sometimes it's worked, sometimes it's not. Why do you think this backcourt will work?
Yeah, because these two guys were made priority number one and perfect fits for this backcourt. Like, it's, again, I believe that the coaches truly feel that will be the best backcourt since Damian Bond and Mike Miles. And it's big words to say. I guess it's only been 2 seasons, but what's different about these guys have starting experience at Power 4 schools. They aren't coming from, no slight to any mid-majors, but they're a better adjustment because they've been playing at that high level and they've been starting at that high level. So you're going right in with knowing exactly what it's going to be like in a Big 12 like atmosphere. And they put it on film already. There's no guessing. Like, we've seen them have success, like I said, at that Power 4 level. And I know they're adjusting the offense a little bit to be able to fit their skill sets more. I would expect a lot more pick and roll, a lot more dribble handoffs, a lot more speed. Brock Harding's a guy that shot nearly 40% from 3 and also had over 5 assists a game. Exactly what you want out of a point guard. And Jada Pierre should probably be their leading scorer next year. I would imagine, being able to play at that 2-1. I know he's 6'2", but he has a 6'5" wingspan. He's built for that moment. I just think if there's a time to invest in a backcourt rather than guessing, these guys have proven it, which I think is more valuable than anything you could have had in the past couple of years.
All right. Well, Nick, thank you for joining us today. I know you've got class here soon, so I won't keep you too much longer. But thank you for joining us. Thanks for talking TCU basketball. Yeah, it's always a joy, always a treat having you on. And do you want to plug your socials real quick?
Yeah, I guess just at Girimonte Nicky, GIRIMONTE NICKY. It's kind of where you can find all my stuff there. That's pretty much it. But I love talking to y'all boys, and anytime, it's always a good time.
Yes, sir. Go follow Nick.
Same here for us, man.
It's a must.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a
go Frogs and go Gales.
It's a must follow.
Yep. St. Mary's, baby.
Yes, sir.
Gales.
Yes, sir.
Hey, got a tournament win this year. Next year, Sweet 16. I'm calling
it. in 5 years, you'll be in the Final Four if we continue this.
One round a year.
Progressive build.
That's progress. All right, that'll wrap things up, though, here for this episode of Believe in TCU. You can follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube page, or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, all at Believe in TCU. So for my co-hosts, Seth Dowdle and Ian Nepetian, and our guest today, Nick Girimonte, I'm Zion Trammell. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, go Frogs.